Welcome to Group 6's case study on Municipal Software Solution. My name is Alissa Spears and I will be reviewing the disaster recovery plans and how they are vital to every organization. My partners on this project are Kirk, Kazienko, Vince Rodridguez, and Joseph Spadafore. Municipal Software Solutions was founded in the early 1990s by President and CEO Paul Teitelbaum. MSS has seen its service offering change over the past 25 years. It started out as a software consulting firm, then a hardware solutions vendor, a LAN networking firm, and finally as an independent software vendor specializing in financial and personal management software for both large and small municipalities. MSS has grown to be the industry leader in the municipal management software space and has annual revenue between $2 to $4 million per year. Income before expenses is between $150,000 to $200,000 per month. They currently employ a staff of 21. Municipal Software Solutions products have evolved over time as they were initially built in the DOS environment using Paradox. They eventually moved the product to access using Windows. And finally, they've settled on using SQL, Visual Basic, and ASP.NET as its backbone. MSS is a client-based application that is installed locally on customer servers. However, they do offer a hosted solution that allows clients to access MSS via a Citrix client. The MSS case is a study of security assurance management and systems disaster recovery. This case is based on a real-life company that experienced a similar circumstance as MSS. That firm was SimpleView. SimpleView is a company that provides software solutions to destination marketing organizations, or DMOs. DMOs are companies that are hired to represent specific travel destinations like the Grand Canyon. DMOs provide information to tourists about services and amenities a particular destination holds. They are a privately held company that was founded in 1991. They employ approximately 120 individuals and have multiple offices in the United States. They are currently located in Arizona, California, Minnesota, and Texas. SimpleView currently offers multiple software packages to its DMO customers. Here are three of their main offerings: CRM, CMS, and SEM solutions. CRM is a classic customer relationship management software, but optimized for the DMO business segment. CMS, which is content management software, is designed specifically for the DMO market as well, and it has built-in itinerary builders. It's fully compatible with CRM. It also integrates with the online location services such as Google Maps. SEM, or search engine marketing, provides a full suite of products that allow DMOs to optimize their connection to travelers. This brings us to the question, what are similarities between Municipal Software Solutions and SimpleView? Well, MSS and SimpleView are both privately held independent software vendors that originated in the early 1990s. They both are industry leaders in very niche markets and are lean operationally as they both employ less than 150 employees. What is information security assurance management? It's the science of protecting information computer systems and networks. Techopedia.com are sometimes widely associated with the practice of information security management, including integrity, availability, authentication, confidentiality, and non-repudiation. Let us look deeper into what is required in order to assess the needs of an organization when it comes to security assurance management. First, in order to protect systems, organizations must be able to understand their security needs. They have to assess their environment. Where are the systems housed, and what are the risks of housing data and systems in that location? What laws are applicable to the data that they store? Are there laws associated to housing the data and minimum necessary guidelines required from a security perspective? All of the answers to these detailed questions will provide the details needed to compose the security assurance and disaster recovery requirements for any organization. Any information security assurance management plan worth its salt is originally formed with a risk assessment. That assessment, once complete, should produce a detailed document with policies and procedures to prevent the loss of network, hardware, software, and databases holding sensitive internal and external data. This document should be all-encompassing, substantial in detail and purpose. Think of it as the Magna Carta of security assurance. The fire was a tragedy, and fortunately for MSS, they were able to get back on their feet quickly. It was abundantly clear, however, that MSS had little in the form of a disaster recovery plan. Lucky for them, backup tapes were created every evening and taken home by one of the employees. Today, MSS still lacks a comprehensive disaster recovery plan. They still have backup tapes sent home every evening, which is their only defense in the event of a fire or water event. The server room where they are currently housing their systems has no fire retardant system, and ceiling shows signs of water damage. It is apparent that system resources and staffing are an issue at MSS. Securing data is key of MSS or any organization for that matter, and placing that responsibility in the hands of one employee is risky and negligent. Furthermore, keeping systems vital to the overall operation of the firm in a room with inadequate cooling, no fire retardation system, and in a room that has shown previously water damage is irresponsible. Therefore, our disaster recovery plan for MSS is to move their vital systems off-site to a data center. Securing systems and preventing disaster in data center environments like Verizon's Terramark will allow MSS to mitigate the risk associated with being an organization that has limited resources. Moving to a data center provides a whole host of possible services that include cloud computing and connectivity. IT infrastructure that would be key to MSS future success as an organization. It will also allow them to grow where they want to go, which is to a hosted environment. Application services are something that will allow MSS to move into a hosting environment a little bit easier. Backup and restoration is key for MSS, and they move away from having a staff member backing up and taking data home with them each evening. Verizon services protect data from being lost or corrupted. And finally, virtualized disaster recovery. This will allow a firm like MSS to reproduce data, applications, and operating systems in a safe and secure environment. Lastly, moving to the data center provides something that is lacking now: security. Moving to a data center allows MSS to have their data monitored 24/7 in a secure building that is safe from environmental disasters, fire, and theft. So what kind of disaster recovery plan would we put in place? For resource-strapped MSS, we propose taking their entire IT infrastructure off-site to a data center like Verizon's Terramark. At Terramark, or a facility like it, they will be able to fully mitigate all disasters even with the limited resources they currently have. No longer will they have to rely on one person to back up and take tapes home. They will be able to do all of these functions from their local offices, but have them physically take place at the data center. For a monthly fee, they will be able to take the advantage of a safe, cool, secure environment that is fire retardant and suffers no threat from severe weather events like tornadoes, blizzards, or other similar natural disasters. They will have 24 hours, 7 days a week of on-site security, which is something they could never do today. MSS should do the following. They should have a properly designed server room that has a subfloor to allow for cable management and cooling, proper ventilation for heat coming off of the servers through ceiling ventilation, fire retardant sprinklers in the event of another fire, and a separate room for a tape drive and tape rack to back up and store daily backup tapes. Proper battery backup in the event of a power outage, and they should have a contract in place with a vendor to, at a minimum, store data backups off-site or in the cloud. When looking at the general controls needed at Municiple Software Solutions, a few items come to mind the company should start to implement to help their overall well-being. A system with checks and balances should be in place for backing up server data. This should be put in place to not have to question whether or not one person remembered to back up the systems in a time of disaster. Routine budgeting for system upgrades should be in place to look at not only the hardware and software the company uses, but also the casings and server room to add improvements. We feel the company should have a designated disaster recovery plan for not just the company as a whole, but specifically for the IT systems, since we can see how devastating a disaster could be to their business. A backup location should be designated where all employees know to relocate in the event of a disaster. We feel that routinely the company needs to implement safety and performance checks on their IT systems to ensure no areas are found that need immediate improvement. Lastly, we feel that a general control for the company should be to routinely spot check with a disaster test to ensure that in the event of a disaster, the staff is ready and knows how to respond. When looking at the organizational challenges the company faces, we have seen areas that could use some attention. The CEO should consider changing the organizational chart to reflect the head of each department. For example, there are 2 directors of software engineering. Also, we feel that within the organization chart, there should be a chain of command as to who heads up disaster organization in the absence of the CEO. In the article, we noticed that when Mr. Titelbaum was out of town during the fire, plans did not start to formulate until he returned. In the event he was unavailable for a larger amount of time, the company could have faced more downtime in his absence. We noticed that there doesn't seem to be a sales division dedicated to selling the software systems. With the company growing and expanding into new markets, it would be beneficial to have people to go out and market the product to new potential clients. We also feel that more integration between the operations side and the development side could help the company improve efficacy within the organization. Positive successes for the company include creating a positive culture and atmosphere that support learning and collaboration. They have a niche market and product focus and hold strong and proud employees that contribute to that positive environment every day. There is little debt, successful product development, and product support, and they are also beginning to groom the future CEO as Titelbaum is looking to retire. There were many successes with MMS in the way they handled this disaster. First and foremost, Titelbaum seems to hold himself in a fashion that is well respected and well liked. 2 things that are valuable characteristics in a time of need, as more people will be willing to help. Andrew Catula was a crucial piece of this puzzle by running backup each night and bringing this home so that it's stored off-site. Learning and innovation was encouraged and favored by MSS. This shows they invest and value their employees. With these great successes, however, come some great areas of opportunity and room for improvement. There are no set meetings. One thing we would implement is a monthly to quarterly meetings for operations, management, and security to assure that the company continues to run as a smoothly operated machine. Another suggestion would be to have each director of each department to run backup as well. While this still causes a security threat as they can misplace or lose information via theft, a backup plan is needed in the event Andrew Catula was unavailable. This would give the company 6 safety nets. A suggestion with a lot of weight should be a team hired specifically for security and emergency actions, and this plan should be run by an outside and newly hired employee whose role solely focus on creating, implementing, and finalizing this plan. As if the obvious threat of a fire wasn't physical enough, during the time that MSS had their temporary offices at play, there were some physical threats that could have occurred over the time of this transition from the office that went up in flames compared to their new temporary home. In the time that they used that recently bought computers, had calls forwarded to a cell phone, and spent that $68,000 on new equipment, they could have had their information exposed to malware. The cell phones, the new computers, and the firm's questionable server were at great risk. Viruses and worms could also have been a threat, as they could have easily sneaked in over the time of this makeshift office. One thing the article failed to mention was whether or not they went and scoped out the burned down office for any valuable information that may have been spared in the rubbish. Files, passwords, and private information could have been easily accessible had they not scoured the area when they were allowed back into the building. They took pictures of the damage, but they did not each go to their desk areas and filing cabinets to see what they could find. This would have been a prime opportunity for a vicious competitor to take part in some untraditional dumpster diving activities. Looking at security threats, this could have been a risk for many different approaches. The spread of the word through social media could have had a large negative impact on the word of business, and while MMS made this seem like a flawless transition, one bad rumor could have deferred that knowledge to consumers. Another thing the fire could have done to the server was put them at risk for encryption. Could the heat damage the wires, and the technical issues encrypted a code that could not be unlocked? If an employee in the time of the gap between the original office to the new office used the public Wi-Fi at Starbucks, could this have caused harm for encryption? Just as Bank of America had to notify their customers of the risk of breached data due to a fire at their office, MMS was at the same risk because they had no way of knowing if this information was damaged, and if so, what the key would be to fix this. A final worry is revenge. Could this fire have been a victim of a jealous competitor? A neighbor trying to get ahead up on the competition? Security threats can come in more forms than just technological. We learned through our text readings in class that information security is a complex, continually changing, and vitally important domain. You will notice that there are 3 similarities between what should have been in place prior to the fire. Framework, standards, and compliance. MMS did things well, but the fact that they were able to pick up as if almost nothing had happened after the fire was part luck and part the work of a fast-thinking leader in Teitelbaum. They had weak framework. The plan seemed to be that Catulo backed up the information each night before he left work. The other loosely created plan was that a partner agreed to helping Teitelbaum out in the case of a situation like this. That's how they were able to find a new place to rent soon after the fire. The financial standing of the firm was very strong, and that was also luck on MMS's part, as they didn't see any devastating financial loss after the fire. Operations need to implement a stronger plan, and it needs to start from square one. A plan needs to be created, discussed, and then trained to all employees in the event this happens again. Some standards need to be created, as operations and management doesn't seem to have any, as they run by the goodwill and pride of the team. One thing that MMS stands by is education and innovation. However, they had no proactive plan in place in the event of serious information loss. Management felt it was only necessary to have meetings as they felt needed instead of holding a quarterly strategy meeting to map out their actions. Every building is required to have a fire drill plan, but every company may not have the same actions in place for a recovery plan post-fire. MMS needs to create a disaster plan for this. Finally, both operations and management need to practice compliance. This wasn't a strong sign of weakness for MMS. However, a proactive approach will help operations run more efficiently and give management peace of mind in the event of another emergency. Another thing management needs to address is how to form strategy and security team. These should be 2 different groups of people, and for the safety of security, a new employee should be hired for information technology security management and hold one role with that goal in mind: security. MMS is a loyal company, and they often give their employees multiple hats to wear. This causes room for mistakes and error that could be presented. A sous chef and a pastry chef can both work at the same restaurant, but they cannot prepare the same foods. A computer technician and an information security technician are both specialized individually as well. The problem with MMS that stood out throughout the report was that they had no formal plan in place. Luck was truly on their side, and while good habits were put in place by the employees, these can be easily forgotten or not realistic in the event Catulo was out of reach that weekend to provide the backed up information. In order to convince Teitelbaum of the importance of a formal disaster recovery plan, one must first make him aware of the dangerous possibilities that could have followed this fire. Loss of information, lack of trust, unrest in employees, loss of jobs, and the ultimate defeat of the company could have happened if they didn't take so much pride in their company and have some strategically placed individuals who were able to keep the business as usual. A formal disaster recovery plan can be created by the company, but should be overlooked by a security information specialist. This should be the sole role of this employee, as mentioned in the previous slide. This individual can make sure that this plan is updated on a monthly basis to continue to protect the company against security threats, but also continue to support the growth of the company by keeping it safe. Teitelbaum's employees are proud, loyal, and committed employees, which works in the favor of the company's success. This can be destroyed the next time a fire or other freak accident occurs. The images of the damage could have been much more devastating had lost information been present. The company reacted well. They handled the situation with grace and dignity, and it's commendable. However, the what-ifs alone are strong enough to cause alarm for the future. What if they didn't have things backed up off-site? What if a competitor took this time to steal the information? What if they weren't able to get new computers right away? What if they didn't have insurance on their side? What if they didn't have cell phone access to forward calls? Loss of business is not negotiable. Teitelbaum needs an outside employee to come in with an unbiased opinion of how to create this plan and then finalize what the team has brainstormed. The importance of that is so their opinions are heard and they feel valued. The new outside employee will be able to use his expertise to put the plan into place. At the time of the fire, MSS lacked a formalized disaster recovery plan. Unfortunately, this isn't uncommon, especially for smaller companies like the size of MSS. While it wasn't explicitly discussed, possible explanations for this oversight could be the following. Many smaller companies don't realize the need to plan for a potential disaster, and perhaps they are too caught up in the everyday management of the business, but the fact is, when the company relies on computing software or data in general, there must be a plan in place. With a staff of only 21 people, MSS runs a very lean organization, and the employees wear many hats. Because no one had expertise or training in the field of disaster recovery, it's possible that no one saw the actual need for it. Additionally, because everyone was spread so thin, no one was focused on the possibility. In the earlier years of MSS, the company was not profitable, leaving no money to invest in a DRP or assign personnel to focus on it. Simply put, it didn't make the cut. Finally, most of us have the notion that events such as the fire at MSS couldn't possibly happen to us. Therefore, we don't effectively plan for those issues. Sadly, 40% of business that face a disaster never reopen, and 25% fail within 2 years of the disaster. A recent example was the intentional fire set at the FAA's facility in Aurora, Illinois, which is responsible for more than 90,000 square miles of airspace in 7 states. A disgruntled employee cut data cables that resulted in the need to replace more than 10 miles of cable. It set a fire that necessitated the replacement of more than 20 racks of computers and 800 telecommunication circuits. Despite working around the clock in the first week alone, more than 5,000 flights were canceled at O'Hare and Midway airports as technicians worked to install the new equipment. The New York Board of Trade had what they considered a well-thought-out disaster recovery plan. As the world's largest commodities exchange for coffee, sugar, cocoa, cotton, and frozen concentrated orange juice, they saw the need to back up some servers and PCs to a fireproof stage within their building. Unfortunately, the office building they were located was 4 World Trade Center in New York City. On September 11, 2001, when 4 World Trade Center was completely destroyed, those backups in the fireproof safe became buried beneath many thousands of tons of rubble. It took years before full operations were restored. What is MSS's current security policy? Invariably, most smaller companies lack disaster recovery protocols until after they face that danger head-on. Security policies are much the same. It's not until we face a possible security issue that we realize that it's needed. While it was fortunate that Andrew Catula had kept regular backups of data, it presents a glaring issue at MSS. Their data was simply too accessible. A disgruntled employee could have easily wiped their servers clean of all data, rendering the company worthless. A competitor could have infiltrated the servers and stolen their proprietary software in an effort to steal trade secrets. An employee could have inadvertently erased data, even without trying to be malicious. Our recommendation would be to have extremely limited access to MSS's data, not only from an access standpoint, but also from the ability to physically harm the hardware component. Access to servers should be limited to only 1 or 2 people. This would entail a dedicated room just for servers, under lock and key and video surveillance. Again, Catula's actions kept MSS afloat. However, with the new process in place, no copies of data should be allowed to physically leave the premises. The challenges that MSS face are troubling. First, the company is too narrowly focused on the applications programming niche with a single targeted product line. In order to sustain business and add future growth, the product line at the very least should be expanded. Second, as is the case with many small publicly held companies, there are questions surrounding the succession plan. Paul Titelbaum, the president and CEO, as well as the company's founder, will be retiring in the next 5 to 7 years. He is clearly the brains, heart, and soul of MSS. The current senior vice president has been groomed over the last several years, but currently there are no other plans in place. It goes without saying that a company's founder also has more of a vested interest in the company's success than a protege. Finally, there is a glaring issue with the MSS staff. Again, it's important to remember that the company operates with only a staff of 21 people. With the pending retirement of President Titelbaum, as well as 2 other senior technical team members, a significant portion of the company's technical know-how is going to be lost and difficult to replace. Even at current staff levels, staff members are wearing multiple hats. This will only be compounded by the departure of 3 key team members. Additionally, an environment of unusual task delegation and assigned responsibility at MSS may lead to future issues within the reduced staff. There are a few bright spots from MSS going forward. While it does present an issue without adding to the product line, Titelbaum and his senior management team had the foresight to make the decision to become the market leader in the municipal software management programming business. This allowed MSS to avoid the cyclical nature of the Rust Belt commercial manufacturing base in the Great Lakes region, and profits soared and remained stable. MSS may receive a U.S. patent in the next 2 years for a large asset with a possible value of around $15 million. Though the new product isn't discussed in the case, gaining any asset that is exponentially more than the company's current annual revenue would be a boon to any company. While the potential staff issues may arise by a reduction in staff, MSS has proven itself a great place to work. Management is quick to recognize the efforts of employees and provide a bright, airy place to work that is located in a great part of town with plenty of amenities such as a kitchen and lunch space, free parking, and easy public transportation access as well. Additionally, the offices have kept open, meaning large open spaces that encourage interaction and collaboration. What this means is MSS is a very desirable place to work, and that translates into a long tenured employee. The ability to attract high value new hires. It can only be hoped that the post MSS fire office space is designed with such aspects and located in the same. Thank you for your time and have a great holiday season.